Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back to another Coffee with the Rustic Girls.
Yeah, we're like one step better than I think.
I know, we're trying to slowly upgrade from last week and steadily improve. And hopefully here in a couple weeks, we'll be going live. So like and subscribe so that we can get to the point where we can just go live and chat it up with you guys, because it's obviously way more fun.
It is. It definitely is.
If you don't know who we are, we're the Rustic Girls. I am Katie, the daughter of the mother-daughter duo.
And I am Patty, the mother of the mother-daughter duo.
We did that so much better than last week. We're getting good at this. Oh my goodness, what a slurp. So how are you today?
I am great. Despite my protest, Romeo drugged me out for a crisp, brisk morning walk out in the fresh air, and I got me a cup of I tell you, I am like 100% on board for percolator coffee.
Yeah.
And I only do coffee about once a week. And I was like, I almost did it yesterday. And I was like, nope, I'm saving it for tomorrow. And it is like, it's hot. And I don't know, just something about it. It's like, that is my jam. And I've never been a coffee bougie. Yeah. I was like, just give me a cup and a little bit of creamer. I mean, I've even learned to do it with, just a little bit of milk and sugar if I have to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so got him back and jazzed up. I'm excited.
Ready to chat?
Yeah, ready to chat.
I am not. So we took the kids out last night and they had a lot of fun, and we got home, and it just takes a bit to get everybody settled back down and wound down. Of course, we're going through our candy and trying to get them in bed. And my sister-in-law came over, and we were going to watch a classic horror film. So we watched Halloween, which is like...
It's classic.
It's classic. Honestly, we were laughing more than anything.
Oh, okay.
So keeping in mind that, like, if you watched it when it came out, that was like the peak.
True.
And for us, it just looks it's so hokey. But honestly, the part that we actually rewound like 4 times. And then when her mom came to pick her up, because there was a whole car swap thing happening, we had to show her too. So there's a scene in it where Michael Myers is going after...
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, Lori, I think is her name in the movie. Well, I'm watching it late at night when my kids are in the house. So the dialogue is really quiet, and then the music and the scary stuff is really loud. And so there's a lot of like going up and down. So we missed like half the dialogue probably. But anyway, they're in the house. Oh no, it wasn't Lori. It was this other girl, like, I don't know, Bunny, I'm going to call her. She's just some goofy girl. And she had been like with her boyfriend in her neighbor's house.
Because you never remember the name. You don't know the people that get killed.
And her boyfriend went downstairs, and he's these big, hokey, like 70s giant glasses, right? And Michael Myers gets him, and then she's upstairs in the bedroom, and the door opens, and he's standing there with his sheet over his head with some holes cut out for the eyes, and then the glasses over the top. And it was just so random and so funny. And then I'm just picturing, like, these guys are wearing a mask. So he's looking through the eye holes of a rubber mask, which already, impairs your vision.
Right.
And then he decides, I'm going to throw on another layer with the cut holes of a cloth. And then he decides, like, it's not easy, like, it's too easy to see. So I'm going to put on somebody else's prescription glasses. So we were joking because he just stands there for the longest time, and she thinks it's her boyfriend because he's got the glasses.
And he's just being
and she's
goofy.
Like, why are you just standing there? Like, you're making me uncomfortable. And we're like, it's probably because he was standing there trying to sort out what blob was the person, because he just literally couldn't see anything.
I don't know what to move for to kill.
Oh my gosh. So yeah. So we watched that. And then because my kids kept getting up, kept having to pause it, it took us so long. By the time the movie's over, it was 1:30 in the morning. I was like, oh my gosh, that's way later than I intended staying up. And then Vi wasn't having a good night. So she was the one who kept getting up and down. So we got up. So we watched a Christmas movie together, like a, Hallmarky Christmas movie.
A feel-good movie.
So yeah, I wasn't in bed sleeping until after like 3. Oh, wow. So I'm dragging a little this morning.
Fair enough.
But here we are.
Yeah.
And I love doing these chats. So What were we thinking about talking about this week?
So we were talking about, last time we met, we chatted about the change of seasons, cozying up your space for the new season. But we were talking about going a little bit, I guess, deeper with that, just in moving into, it's the cozy season, but it also becomes the busy season heading into, okay, we've got Halloween off the agenda now, and now we're moving towards, the season of gratitude. Ooh, that's a good one. We should talk about that. But heading into the holiday season, the Christmas season, and all that goes along with that, and just being intentional about that as we move through that season. So anyway,
I mean, I love the topic. I think that seasonal change is always a really good opportunity to kind of evaluate, and especially when you're looking at we're a little bit into it already, right? Yeah, we've already finished the first month of the last quarter.
Well, I realized this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, it's the 1st of November now. Surprise.
So we've already finished. But you're looking at the final quarter, right? And I think about, it's a good time to think about what were your, we don't really do New Year's resolutions, but you do kind of have goals, right? Of things you kind of are hoping to accomplish this year or work on. And so I think it's also a really good time to think about that. And, what progress have I made and how do I want to finish strong? I apologize. I'm going to have to step off camera for a second. Someone set a kitchen timer. And if I don't turn it off, it will go beep, 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 just constantly. So I have no choice but to get out. So especially, so you have just being intentional about the goals, but you also have the fact that, the holidays, there's so many things to do and so many things you want to do. And then there's all the things you get invited to and
all the other things, the things everyone else wants you to do.
Yeah, exactly. So I think sitting down, for me, it's sitting down with a calendar. And this might be one of the times I pull out the physical calendar to just have something a little bit more intentional. And I love color coding. So having one that I stick on the fridge and then I mark off, we have our family times that we still want to be intentional about protecting. And so it's I'll put that in the calendar and highlight it. So it's really obvious when you look at the day,
don't let other things intrude on this.
Yeah. You look at your week, you can kind of see the balance happening, I think, really well.
Well, and I think that it makes it easier also. We, just kind of touched on the things other people want us to do. It makes it easier to, it makes it easier to say no. When you've already made those decisions ahead of time and you can look at your calendar and say, somebody invites you for whatever.
Yeah.
And
don't mind me.
You can
my mic died.
And you can look at your calendar and say, I'm sorry, we would love to be able to do that, but we've already committed this time for our family. Otherwise, if you don't, I don't know, I think it's just easy sometimes not to get bullied into things, but just to,
it all sounds good, right?
It all sounds good. And you're like, well, we could always do our thing later. But, yeah.
So, and I think it fits with just the thought of being intentional. Not counting on tomorrow to do things. So, and I think that, what was I going to say? It's gone.
Oh boy.
His brain just flew out of my head.
Kind of young for that.
I know.
His brain just flew out of my head. Oh.
No, I think that, it's good to just be really thoughtful about how many things we put on the calendar.
Absolutely.
And that you don't overwhelm yourself, even though it's all good. Oh, guys, it came back to me. I'm so excited because it doesn't always. I was thinking about the other day. I was at Costco and the kids wanted some of the pretty dresses, and I started to say we don't have the money for that, and I was like, well, no, we don't have the budget for that. And this gal walking by, sweet old lady, goes, I like that. I need to use that. I like that. We don't have the budget.
We don't have that in our budget.
And I think it's the same because sometimes it's hard when it's something you schedule for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, one of your goals was to lose weight or to get healthy, and you start, letting, you have your gym time, but, there's this thing here and this thing there, and then you start letting go of those goals. Or, there's all the, holiday events you get invited to, and all the Christmas treats and all the things that may take you off track. And so I think that kind of applying that same principle, it's easy to be like, well, it's just my thing. I'm only disappointing myself.
Right.
But this is something you decided was important. Or family time. Well, it's just us. We can do it anytime. And
right.
So we're going to do this other thing. And instead of viewing it as like, it's not that we don't have time for it. It's not that we don't have time that we can't do these things. It's that I don't have the time budgeted for that. So it's like budgeting your time and saying, this much of my time is going to go towards this goal, whether it be, like I said, for the examples I use, like it's going to the gym or it's spending time with your family, like keeping that time budgeted out and being really intentional about like, these are the days of the week that I'm free, that I could put something else in. This is budgeted for like other things, and this is set aside for this.
I like that. Well, and you just said having those goals, and I think, it wouldn't be a bad thing to actually write a couple of those goals along with what you have on the calendar, just as a visual reminder, because we are always evaluating. And sometimes you might say, you know what, we really want to do this thing as a family. So we're going to do this. And instead we're going to move our thing over here.
Yeah.
But having that goal, like this is what I want out of the holiday season. Yeah. This is what's important to our family for the holiday season, or,
it's year round, especially looking at the holidays,
applying it. Yeah.
There's so much more. I feel like it's one of those seasons that there's just so much more pressure. There's so many things crammed into just, 45 days, 60 days tops.
Well, and, I've been thinking about it. I'm at the stage where I don't have a lot of things on my calendar. But, there's a shift for me this year. And so I'm already thinking about, okay, what is important to me going into this holiday season? What do I, because I know there's going to be people not pushing me, but, trying to include me and wanting to do things. And
out of love, there's going to be this added pressure.
And so it's like, okay, what is important for me? Because this is going to be arguably, I'm trying not to view it that way, but I know this is going to be a harder season for me, for all of us. But I think equally so why it's important to think ahead of like, okay, what am I going to need to fill my cup and not feel overwhelmed or overpressured? Right.
Well, I think I agree, because especially in your season, for many of us going through, and if you don't know,
right.
Patty's husband just passed away
almost under 2 months ago. Yeah.
And he's my dad. So it's a season of grief for us as well. But I do think that for myself speaking, I have things. I have my traditions. Right. I have my routines. I have my family and things that kind of force me, like, this is how we're going to spend the year. Whereas for you, I think you're just kind of floating.
Season of flux. I'm in a season of flux. Because what I thought this season looked like for me, and by season, I mean the season of life as a whole. Right. And what I thought this season
specifically
was going to look like. That just suddenly the rug got yanked out from under for that. So now I'm like,
and you don't have anything, no guideposts.
Yeah, I don't have where do I fit now? And so, it's
definitely for you, it's a season of kind of thinking about. And so for you, I think even you have less like, you have less, I'll just stick with the word guideposts in place, like key things. They're like we do every year, like my husband's work party. We do that every year. We do this thing,
That's all
for you.
All
like,
that I had is gone.
Yeah. It's just wide open and things. So for someone like you, it's even more about thinking about what do I want from this last part of the year? Yeah. What are some personal things I'd like to see, and then that's something you can have as your guidepost, so if you're in a situation like me, you have specific things. Yeah. I know I want family time. I know I want to work towards being healthy. I want, these different things. And so those already kind of are like blocks that I block off of my schedule. Whereas it's less about blocking off and it's more about just being really thoughtful about what you say yes to. And is it going towards what you're kind of wanting from your life right now? For sure. Do you have any, it's done. I had to shut it off because it was going to beep. Okay. Okay, we'll use the iPad or something.
Life, guys.
Kids. Sorry about that. Hang on. Don't do it. Don't leave the station. What would be your best advice because like I'm a chronic people pleaser. I don't know where I get that from. So what would be from a lifetime of learning to live instead of people please? What would be your best advice? So someone comes up to you and they're like, oh my gosh, we're doing this. I'd love to have you there. Like they invite you to something. Like how do you say no or even give yourself time to think?
So I think, for me, because like you said, I've always been a people pleaser and I haven't really had to, once I stepped out of that zone of having those, I don't want to say bombardments, but those encounters, which I was never very good at. If it's something that I'm like, I really don't want to do this. A lot of times I panic and I feel cornered and I say no, but it comes off really snotty and really rude. And then I feel really bad. And then I have to come back and say, I'm really sorry. This is just where I'm at. Yeah. And so, I mean, that's kind of been my, I feel like a trapped animal, because it's hard for me to say no to people. But I think, especially if you don't already have a pre-planned answer. Yeah. And I think you do have to come up with something that, feels like you. But if you don't have one yet, just say, I don't 100% know what that looks like for me right now. Or, if it's appropriate for me, I would feel like a fool saying, well, I'm going to have to check my calendar. Or I'm going to have to check my schedule. Because, the people around me know I don't really have a calendar. Schedule's wide open. So that seems false. But I think I would say if somebody approached me like right now and said, hey, we got this thing, I think I would approach it with, as I'm going through this right now, this season, and I just really would like a little time to think about it. And I think I've done that with you. You've asked me about things and I said, can I get back to you tomorrow? It gives me time to kind of process, think it through. It's all that like tripping over my tongue to say that. I really think that would be my response is can I get back to you tomorrow? Or can I get back to you, next week if it's something further out? Don't put somebody off forever. But give yourself a moment to really evaluate, is this something I really want to do? Something I feel like I have the capacity to do? Does it line up with, how I want to be spending my time or what I need and, in my time in my life right now? So I think that's a good way to navigate it, but definitely being prepared with something, even if it's just that, giving yourself a buffer.
Right. I think even, I mean, if you know, and it's an easy, like, sorry, we do this, or we have this on the calendar party, but I mean, yeah, because you don't want to drag people on, you know, somebody's inviting you to something. But even if it's like, you're like, I probably don't want to, it's always good to give yourself a pause because maybe you'll decide that you do, you know? And I think it also takes it's like high pressure sales, right?
Yeah.
It takes so much pressure off it, which I think means you can respond better. You know, something for me, I think I do very similar is I've learned to say, you know, like, that sounds so fun, you know, or that sounds great. Oh my gosh, that'd be awesome. Because I don't like disappointing people.
Yeah.
I'm like really into it. Like, I really think it sounds cool.
I just don't know if I'm up for it.
I just don't know if I'm up for it. So it's like, it's June. I'm like, I think that sounds really cool. Let me check our calendar and talk to my husband. So for me, having that, it's like, and then I try to actually do that as well. It's not just a cop out.
Yeah.
It's not just a cop out. Yeah. I try to actually, you know, go home, check my calendar and be like, okay, well, is this even an option? Looking at our week, looking at our goals. It's like, you know, you've already got 2 other things this week. I know it's going to be too much for me and the kids. And then I do still, either way, check in with my husband and say, hey, we got invited to this thing. I'm thinking it's a bad idea because of XYZ. What do you think? Or I would say, hey, we got invited to this thing. What do you think? Like, we could do it. You know, our calendar's open or whatever. So I think that's probably one of my favorite go-to as well, is just kind of having a prepared answer that you just kind of give to everybody. And it's even better if you start using it earlier in the year. And you get in the habit of just using it because it comes reflex. So when the holidays hit, when those seasons of like super busy hit, it's more natural coming out. And so be less like panicky of agreeing to, you know, your 4th cookie swap or whatever, that you're like, this is just too much. But whoops, I said yes. Because I think probably the thing I try to avoid being the most is someone who backs out last minute.
Right.
And I know when I've overbooked, because I start wanting to do that all the time. Like, it becomes the day of event and I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to go to this thing. And then it's like, ugh, I don't feel good, you know, because you're just like anxious about it.
Yes.
And I think that's just having experienced being canceled on last minute. It just stinks.
It does.
So I try really hard to, if I'm going to say no, that it's going to be no at the beginning, rather than like saying yes and then having to go back and say, I'm sorry.
If you do panic, and you say yes, you blurt out a yes, and you're like, oh, what did I just do? Like, you know, you walk away and you realize, oh, this is not going to work. You give yourself permission that you don't have to do this. Sooner is better than later.
Right. I would say, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Turn around and say, you know what? I know I just said I could do this. I am so sorry. And give them whatever reason. You can give them as, you know, detailed as you like, or you can just say, I just realized that I can't commit to that. I'm really sorry. Yeah. So sorry. But sooner rather than later.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it is.
The last minute Lucy's are so disappointing.
You think you have 50 people coming and then
no one shows up.
No one shows up, or 10 people show up.
I think we've all experienced that.
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure you guys have. Like, it's the world we live in. There's so much, like, people just don't stick to their commitments, and it's so disappointing when you're on the receiving end, which is why I think it's really important to make sure you're not that person. And I agree. I think if it's 2 minutes later, if it's 2 days later, as soon as you're like, I know in my gut, I can't do this, like, give them a phone call and just say, you know, hey, I'm really sorry. It's just, there's too much on my plate. I'm not going to be up for it. I should have thought about it more before I said yes.
For sure.
But yeah, backing out sooner rather than later. For sure. I think, so we've talked a lot about how to keep things off your calendar. But I think it's interesting to think about how to be intentional about putting things on your calendar for this last season. Because I have a list every year of all the fun, you know, like those little lists of like, make hot cocoa, bake cookies, do gingerbread houses, go ice skating, all the like seasonal activities that you can do as a family. And we get to like none of them because you just blink and the holidays are over. So I think it's another aspect of being intentional is is equally being intentional about what are we putting on our calendar.
Mm-hmm.
So for me as a family, be intentional. You know, we talked about things like that pocketed family time, but then also specifically scheduling, because there's so many times like day of that you're like, I don't know, I'm tired. Let's just chill. Let's just watch a movie, whatever. Is to like actually pre-figure it out. So you're not trying to figure it out in the moment, and like schedule in, like intentional about, like, you know what, I really want to take my family ice skating this year. Pick a day, put it on the calendar, make it a date with yourself. And I think even for you, it's thinking about, you know, if you're in a season where it's less about specific activities, maybe it's about like, I really want to find, I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. So, but you're like, I really want to be intentional about building my community in this season. So for you, you might be like, okay, you know what? On Fridays, I'm going to budget 2 hours on Fridays that I'm going to either make phone calls to friends, or I'm going to write letters, or I'm going to go get coffee with somebody. So I think there's ways to be, whether you have kids and a family, or whether you're kind of flying solo, there's ways to be intentional with your time and how you spend it, and finishing out the year strong. However, what is your fabulous idea?
So, you know, I was thinking, you know, you're talking about activities that you want to do and getting them on your calendar. And, you know, I mean, you've probably seen along the way the idea of like, you know, drawing, you know, this is drawing them out of a jar or whatever. This is the activity we're going to do. And I had tried that in the past, but the problem that comes into that is sometimes you draw out an activity that's like, oh, well, we can't make this happen today.
Yeah. It takes more planning.
But maybe, you know, and you could play off of that, adjust it to your family. You could draw out 3 activities at the beginning of the week, and plan them. Or you could just even make a list of all the things that, you know, and get your family input, you know, on what you want to do during the holiday season. Or if you're a solo, you know, these are the things that I would like to do. And then, you know, you don't have to be random about it. You can go through and say, okay, what would we like to try to fit in this week? Or, oh, hey, we wanted to go ice skating this season. And then you find out, oh, on this date, they're going to have a special deal, a big thing going. And so I think getting him, I'm always about, and I know a lot of people are digital with this. So if you're paper or if you're digital, but getting that stuff out of your head and getting it either on paper or on a list somewhere, somewhere you're going to see it. Yeah. And I think that's, for me, when I put stuff in digital, I just forget it's even there. So for me, it's like, I'm a paper girl.
Yeah. I did find, and I think if you're going to use digital, I still think paper, which is why I tend to, in the holidays, switch to a paper calendar. There's just something that like tactile that helps your brain. But there are some really good apps. So one I really enjoy is called Trello. You can create boards. It's free. I think there's an upgraded version. I'm not sure, but you really don't need it, because I'm telling you, I don't even know if it exists. That's how much you don't need it. But you create boards, and like you can make lists. You can put pictures and hyperlinks. And so we've got all of our wish lists on there. I've got like to-do lists on there. I've got like all of our recipes. All the names of our recipes are on there. A few recipes are on it, and so, you know, that's on there. So each week I can go through, and I have like sorted by days of the week. And so each week I go through and I pick one from each category to build the menu, and I check it off so that we have a nice rotation going on. All kinds of stuff are put on there, right? And but the biggest thing about it I love is you can do a widget on your main screen, and you can set it to be, so you could have multiple if you wanted, but like of a specific board. So you could have a to-do list. You could have my holiday
so
fun.
It's front and center so
that when I open my phone, I see it. And so I think that's, if you're going to do it digital, I think it's really important to find an app with like a widget that you can have on your main screen, so that you do have like more of a physical reminder. AnyList is another good one. It's a lot more limited. But it was the one I used before Trello. But yeah, I think having a good app that puts a widget on your main screen really helps with not forgetting things and not losing things in the digital.
Well, and
cesspool.
And the thing about having, I think that's for me, that's the selling point of your phone is you don't have a clunky notebook or calendar or whatever to have to haul with you. You have it with you no matter where you're at. You happen to be at some store and, there's some really cute clothes and you've got your kid sizes or your grandkid sizes. It's all there. So when you unexpectedly need that information, it is there. I will say it is a fabulous app. She got me excited about it and I started to use it, but because I'm not a digital girl. Yeah. I kind of lost track of it. I forgot it was even on my phone. Yeah. I missed, but yeah, inspired me to give it another look, another go.
That's solid. So on our wish list, you can share the boards. So we've shared the boards with the grandparents and the aunties, or auntie.
Which is part of why I have it.
Yeah. I made her do it. So that I could put that on there. So they have access. They can see like what the kids are wanting, but they can also access like it has their clothing sizes, their shoe sizes. All of that information is there for them to access anytime. So that's really nice too if you can get more family on board. So yeah, I think just, heading into this final couple months of the year, being intentional more than ever is important, or you'll blink and really bad timing.
Speaking of blink,
you'll blink and it'll be over. And once again, you'll be going, that was like insane. It was so busy. Or that was ick.
And for me, it was always like, oh, well, next year.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not always
next year.
And so make the most of the time you have. That just requires you to sit down when it's quiet and make a plan. Stan.
Yeah. Make a plan, Stan. And if your name's not Stan, still make a plan. Well, is there any final thoughts you want to add, or?
I don't think so. I think, my brain has already been kind of, chewing on these things, and I'm excited. I love the holidays. I've always loved the Christmas season, especially. I think from Thanksgiving on is, my favorite, because it's, food and family and traditions and just that, I don't know. It's just the giving,
there's good vibes all around. This time of year, there's just always good vibes. Smells like snow. We are, last minute sidebar that we don't have time for anyway, but we're almost on season 7 of Gilmore Girls with my daughters. And she finally left Christopher. She was like, yay! Yeah, it's miserable. We were plowing through, watching it together, and then we hit season 7. I was just like, I don't want to watch it. So we've almost survived season 7, and then we'll do Year in Life, and then we'll have officially watched all of it. But
yeah. Anyway. I'm ready to start it again. I've caught little bits and pieces along the way with you guys, but it's been a long time since I've watched it all the way through.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. Maybe that's one of my things for the
Your
new year.
goals.
One of my goals for the year. Maybe the holiday season.
Well, I'm really looking forward to when this is live and we get to talk with you guys. But I'd love to hear in the comments, think about some of the questions we asked. Yeah. We asked, what are your go-tos to make sure your calendar doesn't become too full? Maybe what are some of the big things you want to see from the holidays this year?
Here's another one we didn't really touch on is how do you deal with family commit? Family can be hard because especially, as your life shifts and changes, whether you're, getting married, starting a family or whatever, building your own traditions, or whether you're, on the other end of that, family can be hard because there's just, especially in some families, it's like, this is just the way it's done and you best be there.
Yeah.
So, how do you navigate that, without hurting your family, but wanting to, do your own things. We've all seen the what is that movie? Four Christmas or no? Yeah, Four Christmases where they try to duck out and basically they get busted and they end up doing Christmas everywhere with everybody. So yeah, that's a good one. Another one to think about. Because again, being prepared how to deal with that and maybe help somebody else that's struggling with that.
For sure. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. We look forward to seeing your comments, and we'll see you next week. And hey, if we get to 50 followers, we'll be live. So
have a great week.
Bye, friends.
Bye.